Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This is The Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Roger Stone, and this is The Roger Stone Show here at 77 WABC. We are the crown jewel of AM radio, the most powerful and influential AM radio in the United States. If you don't live in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area where I was born and grew up, and you can't hear us at 770 on the AM dial, you can always go to WABCradio.com, WABCradio.com, because we're live streaming worldwide. I think it's 173 countries around the world where you can hear our great programming. So tune in every Sunday, no matter where you live. You don't want to miss Sid Rosenberg in the mornings. I had a great interview with Sid this past Friday. That's to me a great show. I'm going to be with I was with Larry Kudlow for his show yesterday. Larry Kudlow is the man who executed and implemented Donald Trump's plan to revitalize the American economy and turbocharge it. He is the apostle of economic growth. You don't want to miss the Larry Kudlow show. So remember to go to the App Store and grab the 77 WABC radio app. Joining me now is an incredible young journalist. Troy Smith is the editor-in-chief of Slingshot.news. And he's come to my initial attention because he's broken some major investigative stories. He's getting a lot of public attention. Troy Smith, welcome to the Roger Stone Show.
Roger, it's an honor to be with you, as always, and you've been doing so well on this WABC show. It's the talk of the town, and it's an honor to be here.
Troy, just for the edification of my audience, how old are you?
I am 24 years old. I turned 24 in January.
Folks, this is absolutely incredible. If you go to Slingshot.news, you will see some of the best written, best reported journalism. But our guest today is 24 years old, and he's a powerhouse. Troy, you told me last week that you're working on a major story that basically reveals that the highest levels of the State Department in the Biden administration appear to have been penetrated by an Iranian spy ring. You would think that this would be front page on every major newspaper in the country. You would think it would lead the evening news on the networks and on cable, yet I haven't seen a single story on it. What's going on here?
Well, Roger, it's very important to point out the centerpiece figure in all of this is a man by the name of Robert Malley, who is who is currently on leave. He's been suspended, which we'll get into just in a second here. But he is Biden's special envoy to Iran. Now, historically, Roger, this individual, Robert Malley, is important because he was the original architect of the Iran deal in 2015, which paved the way for Iran to obtain nuclear weapons, which our latest reports show that Iran has either developed them fully or is extremely close to developing them within the next several months. So Robert Malley the architect of the original Iran deal. He also is recently been placed on leave at the State Department and from the Biden administration because of a scandal in which he had classified documents, much like Hillary Clinton, on his personal email and cell phone. And in a recent report that's kind of that we're developing right now on Slingshot.news, and that's beginning to break across the country, is that these documents, Roger, these classified national security documents, were accessed while in possession of Malley on his personal email and cell phone by a hostile cyber actor, possibly revealing the fact that Malley, who has ties to Iran, who has been working with Iran for some time, may have given them top secret classified documents. And as you point out, Roger, why is this not headline news? Why is this not the front page of every major newspaper in this country? I think the fact that it isn't speaks volumes as to the level to which our press will go to cover up important information, especially as it pertains to the failures of the foreign policy of the Biden administration.
Yeah, so evidently Mr. Malley is the architect of this policy in which we have unfrozen well in excess of $100 billion in assets for Ukraine, based on a promise that they would use this only for quote unquote humanitarian purposes. Well, that's at least what they said before they got the money. Once they got the money, they said, well, we can do anything we want with this money. It's ours. I have little doubt that they're using it to fund their nuclear weapons development program. Also abundantly clear they're using it to subsidize Hamas and Hezbollah. I believe subsidizing the attack on Israel on October 7th. It's hard for me to understand how being on both sides of this conflict is good for the United States. Israel is our traditional ally, the only democracy in the region. But we seem, and we had the author and investigative reporter Lee Smith on the show last weekend. He made the case that really what Biden is doing is carrying out the precepts of an Obama administration sea change of policy regarding the Middle East, in which, for whatever reason, they think elevating the power and influence of Iran will somehow bring greater stability to the region, when in fact, what will bring and has begun to bring greater stability to the region is the alliance of Israel and Saudi Arabia, Israel and Jordan, Israel and Egypt. Interesting to me that when the Iranians launched what historically now is the largest missile attack in world history against Israel only weeks ago, most Americans were glued to their television sets or their radios because we wondered whether we might be on the cusp of World War III, that anti-missile technology, including Israel's Iron Dome, but also anti-missile technology provided by the United States, France, the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt, was so successful that the casualties, I believe, one person was killed, if I read that correctly. So there, I think, is the seeds of stability in the region, which does not have to do with a nuclear Iran. People have to recognize this is not like World War II, where Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, most definitely evil, but not committed to their own death. In other words, they wanted to win. They wanted to control the world. They were not anxious to become martyrs. In radical Islam, you have people who are prepared to kill themselves in order to kill a maximum number of other non-Islamic individuals. To me, this is a very scary opponent, a very scary enemy, unlike anything we have ever faced before. Troy, late last week, middle of last week, I guess it was, we learned that the helicopter carrying the Iranian president went down, and after some delay, I think due to the region that the helicopter went down in and the difficulty of searching for wreckage, ultimately the Iranian state announced that the president of Iran was dead. I guess my question is was this just an accident? We're flying into bad weather, or do you think that there may have been foul play here? I can think of a number of entities that might want the Iranian president out of the way. Some of them, by the way, Iranian entities, because there is a struggle for succession and power within their system. I mean, they have the supreme leader, that's Khomeini, who is reportedly not in good health. They also had this president, who was also, I think, had already announced that he was suffering from cancer. There are a couple of contenders to become the next president and perhaps the next supreme leader. So that's one possibility. The other possibility, quite obviously, is the Mossad. Any insights into the death of the Iranian president?
Yes, absolutely, Roger. I've spoken with quite a few people on this matter, and I'm told by people in the know and who have experience with this technology that it is basically impossible for this to have happened in just a random circumstance. Now, Roger, I will point out that the importance of Iran is becoming bigger and bigger in the world stage. And here's exactly why. Because under the Biden administration and through their kind of coercing the UN to do so, through the Biden administration and the UN, they've lifted sanctions. Biden and his team have lifted sanctions on Iran that's allowed them to ship billions and billions of dollars in oil to China, where now Iran is the number one oil exporter to China. So China's building this new economy to take on the U.S., and they're using Iranian oil to do it. Now, on top of this, Roger, I've spoken to sources in the Middle East that tell me things have gotten so bad in Iraq with Iranian groups basically taking over the oil production in that country that my sources are telling me that the Iraqi government officials fear that they will actually be executed in the next coming months because it's gotten so bad. The Iranians are taking over the Middle East, and they're doing so because they are empowered, Roger, by the Biden administration. And while Robert Malley has been suspended, I think it's important to point out that his protege, a woman named Ariana Tabatabai, is currently working at the State Department, or in the Pentagon, I'm sorry, as a chief of staff for the Assistant Secretary of Defense. So here's a woman that has been by Malley's side, the guy who orchestrated the nuclear Iran deal, and has now been suspended for basically turning over documents to a hostile Iranian regime, top secret classified documents, and his protege is still involved in the Pentagon. And all the while, Roger, as the oil flows from Iran to China, billions of dollars are coming in, and we can only look at the Biden regime, including Ariana Tabatabai and Robert Malley and the Barack Obama administration, for making this possible.
Plan on flying? It's time to upgrade to a Real ID. Because in order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a Real ID, or you'll need another acceptable form of identification. So don't wait. Find out how to get your Real ID at tsa.gov/Real ID. That's tsa.gov/Real ID, or visit your local DMV. And then you'll be cleared for takeoff.
Really quite extraordinary. The other thing I saw you reporting on is the fact that Volodymyr Zelensky announced yet again that we would have the delay of elections in that country. So we are constantly told that we're fighting for democracy, but there seems to be no democracy.
Well, absolutely, Roger. And billions of dollars have flown from the United States to Ukraine. Basically, all of it has been signed off by the establishment Republicans in Congress, as well as the establishment Democrats in Congress. And people in the United States have taken it to their heart to believe that sending money, taxpayer money, to a country called Ukraine is defending democracy. All the while, all along throughout this conflict, Roger, Zelensky has overseen the arrest of his political opponents. He's overseen a crackdown on things like church gatherings and religion and religious freedom. And the idea that we as a country are somehow held hostage by the people in Washington, D.C. to continue to send our taxpayer money to a country that has suspended democracy, suspended elections in favor of totalitarianism, I think is a disgrace. And I think most American voters would agree with that. I'm a person, Roger, that believes that when Marjorie Taylor Greene is laughed at in Congress for saying that money should not go to Ukraine, that a majority of the American people stand with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and when they laugh, when the establishment figures of the Republican and Democrat parties laugh at people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when they stand up and say no more money to Ukraine, they're really laughing at common sense Americans out there who are working to make ends meet, having the government confiscate their money and sending it to a country that has suspended democracy in favor of totalitarianism. It's awful.
Another story that I know you're very much up on are these subpoenas that were sent to former White House press spokeswoman Jen Psaki. What is that? This has to do with her book. What is that all about?
Well, Roger, here's the problem. We've had a system over the last few years that has hammered the congressional subpoena. And the problem is there's a total disparity as to enforcement when it comes to the political affiliations of the people who receive the subpoenas. When Merrick Garland gets a subpoena, as he was trying to kind of demonstrate or talk about just the other day, he kind of picks and chooses which ones are valid, and he's allowed to do so. When it comes to Hunter Biden, Roger, Hunter Biden is allowed to thumb his nose at a subpoena, but when it comes to Steve Bannon or it comes to Peter Navarro, who is currently in prison for defying a congressional subpoena, the full weight of the law is used to come after. And you've experienced this too, because you were subpoenaed by Congress and you chose to testify and give assert your Fifth Amendment rights. I think that Jen Psaki is defying a subpoena from Congress over her book, which has already had to be reprinted, by the way, Roger. Gold Star families came out and were livid with Psaki because the book states that Biden didn't check his watch during the dignified transfers of 13 U.S. service members who were killed during Biden's botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Psaki decided to reprint the book, and now afterwards, she's also being criticized for basically making money off of the death of these U.S. service members by telling her story, the story of a time where she was serving in government and she was supposed to be helping these people. And the fact that she's out there making money over it, Congress wants to take a look at it, and she's defying the subpoena. So if the law was applied equally, Roger, Jen Psaki would be in prison just like Peter Navarro. But as we see time and time again, if you're a Republican, they come after you. And if you're a Democrat, it seems that you really can't do anything as long as you continue to echo the talking points of the establishment.
Definitely seems that way. The other big story you were on top of is revelation late last week that the Central Intelligence Agency intervened essentially to stop the Justice Department and the FBI from interviewing this fellow Kevin Morris, who is described as Hunter Biden's sugar daddy. He is the guy who wrote a check to pay Hunter Biden's $2 million tax debt. He's paid for the attorneys surrounding all of the legal proceedings around Hunter Biden. Yet we have a government entity blocking yet another government entity from doing its job in what we had hoped would be a free and politically unbiased investigation. What's going on here?
Well, Roger, it's very important. You know, the House Judiciary Committee Chairman, Jim Jordan, along with the Oversight and Accountability Committee Chairman, James Comer, have revealed that a whistleblower has disclosed to several committees that the Central Intelligence Agency intervened to stop the IRS from interviewing Kevin Morris, an associate and attorney of Hunter Biden. And it's important because Kevin Morris was the individual that allegedly paid Hunter Biden's tax bill. When he owed millions of dollars to the IRS, it was Kevin Morris who stepped in. Not only that, Roger, but Kevin Morris also has worked with Hunter Biden for years. I mean, there's photos even of the two staying together in California, and Kevin Morris was photographed smoking a bong in a second-story window. So the idea, I think, the most important question when it comes to this situation is we have to ask why. Why would the Central Intelligence Agency be intervening and stopping the IRS from interviewing Hunter Biden's attorney in an investigation about taxes that he allegedly paid? I think it's a question that most people, if you look into it, you'll be surprised to find your answer. And the answer, as kind of was with the last question, Roger, there is a favoritism that comes with being a Democrat. And you've experienced this on the other hand, where you have been persecuted because you are a Republican. And we've seen this in the case even involving Hunter Biden, where a federal judge stated that your case in a ruling where he kind of dismissed Hunter Biden's attempt to kind of dismiss his tax charges, he said that your tax case and Hunter Biden's tax case were apples and oranges, yet it was Kevin Morris and Hunter Biden that tried to use your case to get out of their own tax charges. I'd love for you to talk about that, too, because it's so important in this case.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC Radio. We're with Troy Smith, editor-in-chief of Slingshot.news, and we'll be right back.